ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, everybody. So today in this session, we will take a dip in the Srimad Bhagavatam. I'll give you an overview of the contents of the fourth chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1. So in the first chapter, Shaunak Rishi asked 6 questions from Sutta Goswami, that what is the highest good for everyone? Second question, what is the sense of all the scriptures? Third question, what was the purpose of Lord Krishna's appearance? Fourth question was about various Purusha Avtaras. Fifth was about Leela Avtaras. And sixth, after Lord Krishna's departure, where the principles of religion have taken the shelter. So in the chapter 2, Sutta Goswami gives the answer to the first 3 questions. And the next chapter, third chapter, Sutta Goswami answers the remaining 3 questions. So the first thing Sutta Goswami says, that the highest good and the sense of all the scriptures is to perform unmotivated and uninterrupted. And he continues, and finally he answers the last question, which was where the principles of religion have taken shelter after Lord Krishna's disappearance. And there he says that those principles of religion, along with knowledge and detachment and everything else, has taken the shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam. And Sutta Goswami concludes his response by telling us what is the secret of knowing Bhagavatam. Now, can I ask any one devotee to share with us what is the secret of knowing Srimad Bhagavatam? Any devotee would like to share?
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी।
Yes, Prabhu.
भागवतम से हमको शोक मोह भय तीनों चला जाता है।
नहीं, जो भागवतम को सीखने का, जानने का, उसका क्या रहस्य है?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
According to my understanding, I understand that Bhagavatam himself has personified, Lord himself has personified in the form of Bhagavatam for devotees very mercifully. That's my understanding.
So,
Hare Krishna,
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, yeah.
Prabhuji, we should hear it with rapt attention from a bona fide acharya only, so that we understand what God wants to reveal to us as it is.
Thank you. So, in the 44th verse of the 3rd chapter, Sutta Goswami says that one should hear Srimad Bhagavatam with a rapt attention, and he should have the mercy of the spiritual master. He says Nivishta means rapt attention, and Tad Anugrahat means the mercy of the spiritual master. So these two things are the secret of knowing Srimad Bhagavatam. And Prabhupada explains very beautifully in the purport that one cannot hear with rapt attention unless one is pure in the mind. One's mind will not be pure unless his actions are pure, and one's actions will not be pure until our eating, sleeping, mating, defending, these things are not pure. So this is a very beautiful message for everyone, because many people, they wonder, many people, they ask, how can we study, how can we know Bhagavatam? So the answer is given in the Srimad Bhagavatam itself, that we must hear with a rapt attention. And second, we should always pray for the mercy of the spiritual master and the acharyas. So we are on the 4th chapter now. So the 4th chapter, there are 4 questions posed by Shaunak Rishi. The first question, Shaunak Rishi, after hearing the importance of Srimad Bhagavatam, wanted to know that when and where the Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken. And the another point, that what was the inspiration for Shukdev Goswami to speak Srimad Bhagavatam. The second question is that how did Shukdev Goswami happen to meet Parikshit Maharaj? The third question relates to Parikshit Maharaj, where Shaunak Rishi wanted to know about the birth and activities of Parikshit Maharaj. The fourth question again relates to Parikshit Maharaj, where he wanted to know that why did Parikshit Maharaj give up everything and sat on the bank of the Ganges. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam first canto, there are 19 chapters. So I mentioned to you what is included in the first 3 chapters. Now, remaining 16 chapters are the answers to the 4 questions which were posed by Shaunak Rishi to Sutta Goswami. And of 16 chapters, chapter number 8, 9, 10, 11, those do not relate to any of the answers, any of the questions which were posed by Shaunak Rishi. And those chapters are relating to Kunti Devi, Bhishma Pitama Dev, and Lord Krishna's departure to Dwarka Dham. But still, Sutta Goswami recited those verses very beautifully due to his ecstasy. At the end of the 4th chapter, we see that how much Vyasdeva contributed for the welfare of all the living beings. And then we also see then even after contributing so much, doing so much for the welfare of every living being, he was not satisfied. And while he's contemplating on these matters, Narad Muni appears on his side. And Narad Muni is a spiritual master of Vyasdeva. So this is a very high-level overview of what is included in the 4th chapter of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Now this chapter has got 33 verses. Those verses are very beautiful verses, and I have put together key messages or the learnings what we get from those verses. So I'll share those messages with you, and at the conclusion of the session, you are welcome to share your thoughts or have any questions or comments. So the first thing, after hearing the answers to the questions from Sutta Goswami, Shaunak Rishi, he glorifies Sutta Goswami. Bhagavatam says samstuya. Samstuya means the glorification. Yeah, stuti word we have heard. So samstuya means it's a glorification. And Shaunak Rishi is glorifying Sutta Goswami despite the fact that Shaunak Rishi was a very elderly Rishi, number one. Number two, he was the head of assembly of all the sages who had assembled over there. And the third thing, he was very much learned. So from this action, we understand that we should respect and appreciate the people who have knowledge, regardless of their position and the age. Number two, Shaunak Rishi request Sutta Goswami to speak Srimad Bhagavatam, which was spoken by Shukdev Goswami. Sutta Goswami asked Shaunak Rishi, why are you requesting me to speak Srimad Bhagavatam? So Shaunak Rishi says that I am asking you because you are most respected and most learned man in the assembly. So this shows that we should always seek the spiritual knowledge from the pure devotees, or I should say from the right source. Sometimes back when we were discussing Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.3, therein I mentioned that if we are buying a product, for example, if we are buying a mango from a reliable seller, then we do not have to worry anything about the quality of the mango. We do not have to taste it. It's ready for consumption. Straightway we can eat it. So this shows that it's very important that we hear about spiritual matters from the bona fide people who are devotees of the Lord. Third thing, after hearing importance of Srimad Bhagavatam, Shaunak Rishi wanted to know when and where Srimad Bhagavatam was written and what was the inspiration to speak the Srimad Bhagavatam. So this shows that inquisitiveness or asking questions is very much important to grow in the spiritual life. Number 4, when Shukdev Goswami starts talking about, he says that Shukdev Goswami appeared like an ignorant person, as if he does not know anything. But still, he was a great devotee. So the message we get from this was that we should not judge anyone, either materially or spiritually, from the external appearance. External appearance can be deceptive. We have an incident in the Srimad Bhagavatam where King Rahuguna could not understand the greatness of Jad Bharata, who himself was an exalted devotee. And Krishna has showed us with his own example that external appearance is not very important, or it doesn't matter. Rather, it's the devotion what matters. When Sudama approached Krishna, Sudama's external appearance was not good at all. But still, Krishna ignored the external appearance and accepted his offering. Number 5, while talking about Shukadeva Goswami, Shaunagri says that although Shukadeva Goswami was naked and he passed by the girls who were bathing naked in the river, still the young girls did not cover their bodies. And whereas Vyasdev, who was an elderly man, who was nicely dressed up, when he passed by the naked girls covered their bodies. So this incident brings up a very important point, that purity of our mind will change the perception of other people who sees us. The young girls who were bathing naked in the river, they did not know anything about the Shukadeva Goswami. He was completely naked, but still he was so much pure in the mind, which forced the girls to change their perception about him. So purity is a state of mind. When we say pure devotee, the pure devotee means the devotee whose the state of mind or whose mind is in pure condition. The number 6, it is said in the Srimad Bhagavatam that Shukadeva Goswami would stay in any Grihastha's house not more than half an hour. And this gives us a very important message that we should have minimum things in our life and we should be detached from the opulent things. If we have the minimal things in our possession and we are detached from the opulent things, then we will be able to focus our mind on the spiritual matters and the Srimad Bhagavatam. The number 7, Shaunak Rishi and other sages wanted to hear about the birth and activities of Parikshit Maharaj. Why? Because he was a great devotee. So this gives us a message that devotion unto Krishna makes a person a great person and automatically elevates devotee's status, although the devotee does not want it. The best example is of Srila Prabhupada. He dedicated his life for glorifying Krishna. So currently the situation is that the round the clock Prabhupada is glorified in this world. Number 8 is that Parikshit Maharaj possessed all the opulences, not the opulences of any one city or any one country. He possessed the opulences of all the world. And still he gave up everything and sat on the bank of the Ganges. This shows us that renouncing our material possessions for the purpose of serving Krishna while we are in the mid of abundance is a true detachment. Parikshit Maharaj renounced everything while he was the king for the whole planet. So this shows that we should prioritize our spiritual progress, our spiritual wealth over material possessions. Now, number 9, it's a very interesting verse. It says, or rather it mentions that why did Parikshit Maharaj sit to fast until death? Shaunak Rishi was wondering that he was such a great king and he says that he was the ashraya for innumerable people. So why did he decide to fast until death? So Srimad Bhagavatam tells us very beautifully that what are the characteristics of a person who is fully devoted unto Krishna. Many times we hear the word Vasudev Parayana, who has completely surrendered himself or herself unto Krishna. So in this particular verse, the word which has been used is not Vasudev Parayana, rather it is Uttama Shlok Parayana. Uttama Shlok is another name of Vasudeva. So Prabhupada translates Uttama Shloka Parayana, who live for all living beings. And this verse says that the person who is Uttama Shloka Parayana would live for other people's Shivaya, Bhavaya, and Bhutaya. A true devotee of Krishna would think of the Shivaya, which means the welfare or auspiciousness of every living being. The true devotee of the Lord would think of Bhavaya, which means he would think about the development of other people. And the third thing, Bhutaya. Bhutaya means he would think how everyone can flourish. And Sutta Goswami says that the Uttama Shlok Parayana, the devotees of the Lord, Jivanti na Atmartham. The devotees of the Lord, they do not live for the selfish interest. So from this particulars, we can understand that we should always think that how much we are contributing to all the living entities, either in a material manner or in the spiritual manner. We should always think for the material well-being of everyone, and more than material well-being, it's about the spiritual well-being of everyone. Okay? Now, number 10, it says that Vyasdeva, he saw what's going to happen in the coming years in the Kali Yuga. He could foresee that in the coming years, the people will have the short lives, and the second, the people will be impatient and disturbed. And then he started contemplating, what can I do for such kind of people? From this, we get the message that the great personalities, they always think of the future, not about their own future, but the future of the other living beings. And they always prepare themselves. How can they make other people live more happily? Number 11, now after seeing the anomalies in the coming years, Vyasadeva, he split one single Veda or the source of knowledge into 4 Vedas. And thereafter, he compiled even Mahabharata also. So from this action, we can understand that we should try to simplify the material knowledge or the spiritual knowledge as much as possible so that it can be accessed or it can be understood even by an ordinary man. And that's what our parampara has been doing. Krishna imparted the knowledge to Brahmaji. He made it simpler. He imparted to Narad Muni. Narad Muni further simplified, gave it to Vyasdev. Then Vyasdev simplified, gave to Shukdev Goswami, then to Sutta Goswami, then to various Goswamis, and then to Srila Prabhupada. Number 12, it's Bhagavatam says that Vyasadeva, he edited the Vedas, means he split the single Veda into the 4 Vedas and then he compiled Mahabharata. Why? Because he was Kripana Vatsala. Kripana Vatsala means he was very much compassionate to all the living entities. And sometimes back we discussed that compassion should be the only motivation while we preach to the living entities. If compassion is missing, then the preaching will not be effective. And if we are compassionate on the living entities, then the great things will be manifested. It was Prabhupada's compassion on all the living entities which manifested Bhagavad Gita as it is, Srimad Bhagavatam, 18 volumes, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and so many other books. Now, number 13, it's mentioned very beautifully in the Bhagavatam that Vyasadeva, although he compiled the Veda, he simplified it by splitting into the 4 Vedas. Then he compiled even Mahabharata. But still he was not satisfied. And while he was contemplating why he is not satisfied, even after the fact that he was very strictly disciplined, he followed all the Vedic vows very strictly. He worshipped all the Vedas, the spiritual masters, very perfectly. He followed the rules and regulations. And finally, as I mentioned, he compiled even the Mahabharata also in the story form so that people take in the messages from the Mahabharata. But still he was not satisfied. And the reason, while he was contemplating on it, he got a clue that na bhagavata dharma prayena nirupita. He realized that I have not specifically glorified the Lord Krishna and his devotees. And many times we hear the word Bhagavad Dharma. So what is Bhagavad Dharma? Prabhupada translates it very nicely. Bhagavad Dharma means the devotional activities of living beings. So when we think of Srimad Bhagavatam, what is Srimad Bhagavatam? Srimad Bhagavatam, in a sense, it tells us what is Bhagavad Dharma, which means it tells us the devotional activities of various great devotees of the Lord, so that we can hear it, we can recite it, and try to apply some of the things what the great devotees were doing to purify ourselves. And the 14th thing, while Vyasadeva was contemplating on why he is not happy, why he is not satisfied, after following everything so strictly, after doing everything what he could do for the well-being of all the living entities, Narad Muni appears and gives his darshan to Vyasadeva. So from this we get the message that if we are serious and sincere in our introspection, it's not exactly the devotion service. Introspection is part of the devotion service. The way Vyasadeva was sincerely introspecting, he wanted to find out what else he can do for everyone. Then immediately his spiritual master appeared. So this teaches us that if we are sincere in our introspection, then the guidance will automatically come either from Guru, Sadhu, or Shastra, or Krishna, who is situated in our heart. So the point is that we should always reflect upon ourselves and see how can we be a better person and a better devotee. So these were the 14 points which I had noted, which you can call it's takeaways, messages or teachings from the 4th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto. Now, so I like to stop here. Many thanks again to everyone for joining this evening session. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya cha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.